Tesla is the name that most know when it comes to new and exciting electric cars, but the list of EV startups gets longer by the day. The list of EV startups to actually ship cars? Now, that's another story. One of those actually delivering cars that I've been excited about for a while now is Rivian. This past Saturday, I picked up my new Rivian R1T, and after a few days with it, I'm going to break down my first impressions. I'm a Tesla owner, so there is plenty of good and bad to compare to this new Rivian. I'm super excited, so let's get into it, and a special thanks to Recurrent for sponsoring a portion of this video. As a quick recap of my last video about this Rivian, I ordered back in December of 2021, figuring it would be a couple years before I took delivery of this truck. I was looking to get one to review on the channel, potentially rent out on Turo, and utilize as a daily driver, so I put my deposit in on December 18th, 2021. It was a $1,000 refundable deposit. I locked in my order, we checked out the Rivian Venice hub to see the R1T in person, and I got my estimated delivery for the second half of 2023. Rivian had their pricing debacle, and after that it was clear that my order, at about $16,000 cheaper than current prices, was something I should take delivery of for an extra reason now. We did our mobile drive with the R1T. My delivery window moved up to December 2022 to January of 2023, and then on August 24th, I got an email from Rivian saying, "Your configuration is ready to confirm." I was shocked to receive this email, but of course incredibly excited. I received my VIN, proceeded with certain delivery steps like trade-in, financing, and insurance, and was told it would take 4 to 8 weeks for the truck to ship. Then it would do inspections for 1 to 2 weeks at my service center. Essentially, the last few weeks have just been waiting without much communication. I would text my Rivian guide every once in a while for updates, but he never had much concrete to say. On September 2nd, he said, quote, "It looks like it just shipped and is now in transit." He said he'd reach out with any additional updates, and then 6 days later he said there should be a big shipment coming mid this month, and I believe your car will be a part of that shipment. Still very vague. I waited till a little after mid-month and checked in again on September 19th. He said it looks like it's going to arrive mid to late next week. If I don't message you, feel free to reach out Thursday. So again, based on what I was told, I expected it to arrive around Thursday and then expected up to another 2 weeks for inspections. What happened instead was that on Thursday morning, I got both an email and text from Rivian asking me to schedule delivery. Not only was I scheduling delivery, but the text said, quote, "Your R1T has arrived and just completed its pre-delivery inspection. While you're completing your purchase, I'd love to get you slotted for a pickup appointment to ensure we get your R1 to you as quickly as possible. Friday, 9/23, 5 p.m., Saturday, 9/24, 1 p.m., or 3 p.m. So out of the blue, I could take delivery the next day. It's similar to how Tesla works here, where they don't have much communication and don't communicate a ton until delivery is ready. Around August 25th, I received my VIN and didn't really hear anything concrete about a delivery date until the 22nd, when they basically said, "Can you take delivery tomorrow?" Pretty crazy process, but very exciting. We opted to pick up at 1 p.m. on Saturday in Costa Mesa. Our configuration obviously happens to be what Rivian is actually delivering right now. They have many options to choose from, including different battery sizes and motor numbers, but the quad motor long range is all they have produced so far. Our configuration is quad motor, long range in forest green. I think this green looks really great, especially in the wild. We have the adventure package for the interior, which as it turns out is now the only one that they are producing, and then got the 20-inch all-terrain bright wheels. This wheel is a, quote, "machined aluminum wheel with high-gloss black pockets." Estimated 40-mile range reduction with large battery pack. That's a downside to keep in mind because the 314-mile EPA range becomes 274 miles of range EPA on a full charge. But we plan to use this truck for what it's made for, and buying it with road wheels didn't make the most sense, for now at least. I'll report back on our experience there. Now, some people take delivery at home, but Rivian had me come to Costa Mesa, and I was fine with that, especially if it sped things up. As for the delivery process, it was pretty much the best experience you could imagine receiving a vehicle. We drove in and saw our truck parked out front. I knew right away because these wheels seem a bit less common on orders I've seen so far. They were very friendly, walked us through anything and everything we asked about, and helped us to get everything set up properly. It was fun to learn certain design things that are similar but different than what Tesla does. Josh was our delivery advisor, and he actually did John Rettinger's delivery too, which is cool to hear. I already knew a lot about this truck, but he he walked us through the screen, how to set up maps, and how to set up my initial driver profile. The design of all of this is so well done, and it's just a beautiful experience all around that's very clear. For some reason, connecting my phone actually did have a bit of a delay on their end, but he walked us through all the other features before we got there, so it wasn't an issue. Then we set up my phone, and again, it's a really well-designed experience linking these things together. The only thing I noticed on the car was a scratch on the right side of it, so they noted that as present at delivery. I can schedule service through the app if I choose to get that fixed. Also, to note, we ordered all-weather floor mats, the field kit, and cargo crossbars, and these are actually all shipped separately, so I'm waiting on those still. Overall, the car was incredible, so I officially accepted delivery in the app by swiping up. The car was now officially ours. After a bit more walkthrough, we did our first drives, and it was fantastic. Definitely bouncy at first, and the accelerator took a bit of getting used to, but now that I have lived with this truck for a few days, here are my first overall impressions. This is one of my favorite looking cars. Some don't like the front end, but I personally can't stop looking at it. At night, during the day, anytime, this is a beautiful truck. The build quality of my particular car is fantastic as well. I have yet to hear any interior rattles or squeaks or see any true misalignments. It's a truly premium interior, incredibly comfortable inside, and has such clear design language throughout. I really love the combination of wood accents in the Black Mountain interior, and I'm also very happy to see that they kept the yellow accents all around the vehicle. Originally, this was supposed to just be for the launch edition, but this came on my car and isn't a launch edition. I'll detail everything more once I spend more time with the car and make a full review, but you're likely familiar with all the storage this truck has. It's really awesome and actually takes some getting used to since there is so much in places that I'm not used to. The door pockets expand beyond what you see. There's the gear tunnel, storage under the rear seats, the front trunk is enormous and powered, and there's understorage underneath the truck bed. Throughout the cabin, there are lights and accent lights, which look really great at night. You can dial in the brightness on screen to exactly what you prefer. More on what I love and the issues I found in just a minute. Before we go any further, I'd like to thank today's sponsor, Recurrent. Recurrent is an app that gives EV owners confidence in their vehicle by creating battery performance reports like EV owner insights and range scores. I just bought a Rivian R1T, so my report doesn't have enough data yet, but here's an example of insights it gives an R1T owner. We can see an accurate long-term range prediction, charging averages, and much more. Since so much of that truck's value is in its 135 kilowatt-hour battery, monitoring battery and range loss essentially replaces oil changes and timing belts. Over 50 other EV models are supported as well, including Tesla. You just authenticate once, and Recurrent records your state of charge and various battery metrics each day to compare your car to hundreds or thousands of similar vehicles. This data will help you understand your actual real-world battery range, how that range changes in various weather conditions, and what it'll be like several years from now. Recurrent is currently only available in the US, but there is an international waitlist. EV Owner Insights support over 10,000 vehicles, and the community has recorded over 100 million EV miles across all 50 states. The best part is it's completely free. With winter coming up, now is a good time to sign up so you can understand how temperature will accurately affect the overall range of your EV. To check out Recurrent for yourself, click the link in the description below. The next big thing for me and comfort in this car is the cooled seats. With a black interior in summer in California, the cooled seats are particularly great to have. Overall, this car is well built and nothing affects my experience with it, but there are a few imperfections if you look really closely. There was a scratch on the exterior that I noted at delivery, and I saw a small panel misalignment under the center console in the rear. This is a place I'll never see, but it's there and worth noting. On the right side of the hood, I can see what looks like a bit of glue residue. The gear tunnel already had an error for me when I tried to open it from the screen, so I then had to close it manually and then open it again. That worked totally fine, and most of the time I'm just going to open it outside anyway. Then the big issue is the powered tonneau cover. Mine has worked mostly fine so far, but at delivery they told me that Rivian is aware that this cover needs an entire redesign. The delivery before mine had a tonneau cover that was actually already broken, and mine sounds like it's just about there. Here it is closing, and you can hear something terrible happening right at the end. I'm expecting this to break after a certain number of uses, but Rivian will be replacing it once a fix is available or if it's an issue prior to then. My VIN is in the 10,000s, so things like this are expected on a brand new vehicle that is the first a company has shipped, as unfortunate as they are. Then there are two more slight annoyances I have. First is with the included floor mats. They're secured at the bottom, but with the angle of the car and the thinness of the mats, they end up bunching up all the time on the passenger side. I will be replacing these with all-weather floor mats anyway. Then the button to release the center console storage has been a bit touchy for us. Sometimes it takes 3 presses and finding the perfect spot for them to actually release. Driving this truck is fantastic. It's exactly what you'd want to see in an electric car, but coming from a Tesla, this of course takes getting used to. It's definitely a high-riding truck, it's bouncy, and has much more side-to-side motion as a passenger. This is obvious stuff, but something to keep in mind if you expect to just switch from a Model 3 and don't remember that this is a very large vehicle. The visibility in this truck is amazing. Not only are you riding high and seeing a lot more of the road, but the mirrors are large and the rear view is great. It's a really solid view, and coming from a Model Y, which is basically just a rear sliver, it's great. When driving, you definitely feel that this is a heavy vehicle, but one thing that really helps me is that you can put regen braking on high. This is more aggressive than many cars and many people are used to, but it becomes very useful with a 7,000-pound truck. It also has more power than feels possible for a truck its size, doing 0 to 60 in around 3 seconds. Instant torque and all of that, as expected, make for a really great driving experience. One thing that's particularly helpful as well is the overhead view. This is standard in many cars today, but especially on a large truck, makes navigating parking lots much easier. It works really well, but if you prefer, you can change views to show the side cameras and the rear camera, or flip that for the same camera locations but facing forward. As with any modern car though, it's more than how the car drives. Software is prominent in the Rivian and you control a lot of what you do on screen, much like a Tesla. Overall, the screens are fantastic. Responsiveness and refresh rates are no issue whatsoever, and this feels like a completely modern car. No complaints with how the screens feel or look, and the instrument cluster display interacts well with the infotainment screen. The UI is also very good. The dock has 4 things there at all times: maps, music, drive modes, and vehicle options, and the 5th slot is your most recent app from what's remaining. I usually like pulling up my cameras, so I do wish this was customizable, and maybe Rivian will add this in a future update. The buttons on the steering wheel are great to use and interact well with the screen. The stocks work well and interact well with the instrument cluster display, which is also great. Now, a really small thing that I really love about this car is that you can choose between charge miles or percentage or both. This seems small, but Tesla only lets you choose one or the other. Seeing both at any given time on the instrument cluster is actually pretty nice. One slight annoyance to me is that the time is in the top right corner of the center screen. It's actually pretty far away as a driver, and I'd love to be able to see this on the instrument cluster display. There's plenty of room for them to add it there. My biggest complaint though is my biggest complaint with the car as a whole, and that's maps. The maps are the first icon on screen, and much like Tesla, are treated as the main thing you'll use on screen. They look beautiful, and you can choose between 3D, 2D, and north-up orientations. These visualizations look great and adapt as you drive, but so far, Maps is unusable. I have navigated a number of places, and each time either the route didn't make sense at all, or it took me to the wrong destination entirely. Sometimes the maps will just jump as well, with my current location jumping forward and then back around a quarter mile or so. It's really unfortunate because if you're committing to a car not having CarPlay or Android Auto, the built-in system better be good. In a Tesla, their built-in maps have replaced my need to ever use my phone or navigate. Unless something changes, I'm pretty confident that by the time I make a full review of this car, I will have already installed a phone mount of some sort to handle navigation. I can't rely on the built-in maps at all. I really hope that Rivian can fix this with a future software update. It's a huge miss, and I'm not excited to mess up the beautiful look of this interior with my phone handling maps and this beautiful 15-inch infotainment screen just sitting there with a very subpar maps option. In my opinion, for an adventure vehicle, reliable maps is vital. This doesn't have it at this point. For driver assist, Rivian has Driver Plus that works on major freeways and looks a lot like Tesla Autopilot. When it's available, it has worked really great for me. It actually brakes a little easier than Tesla Autopilot and feels a little less jumpy when it's time to accelerate, which I definitely appreciate. It's limited though, and I've found many times that I'd expect it to be available and it wasn't, like on the 210 freeway near Pasadena. The sound system in the R1T is fantastic, and I've particularly noticed the impressive subwoofer, which is located under the back passenger seat. As for climate controls, Rivian went with a sort of invisible AC system similar to Tesla, but so far I've found the adjustment takes a bit of getting used to. The on-screen adjustments in practice don't seem to entirely match the airflow, so I'm actually getting used to that. I'm sure I'll have it figured out in a few weeks, and with it saved to my driver profile, I won't need to adjust it once I'm dialed in. As for charging, you can easily set your charging schedule on screen, and it's very nice to be able to set both start and stop charging times each day to match your off-peak hours. One interesting thing with charging though is instead of choosing any percentage percentage for charge, you can only choose 70, 85, or 100% charge limits. There are no in-between options that I can find, but it has all the info on these charge limits that's very clear. I think this actually is really clear for those new to EVs or unsure what the ideal percentage is for this car. You only have 3 options, and they tell you why you might want to choose one of the 3. I'm currently charging with my Tesla wall connector using a J1772 adapter, and it works great at home. A couple features I'm excited to try out in the future are the Wi-Fi hotspot, which is very interesting, as well as Alexa integration. I haven't truly given this a chance yet. I've spent less than a week with the R1T at this point, but I can't wait to spend more time with it. It's incredibly fun to drive and practical as well with so much extra truck storage. As always, it's important to remember that Rivian is just starting to deliver cars, so that comes with pluses and minuses. My delivery day experience was the best experience I've ever had taking vehicle delivery, and the build quality is fantastic, but this could end up changing as they scale up and work towards profitability. At the same time, certain issues or complaints that I have, and we'll talk about, will come when a company launches a vehicle and could be fixed in the coming years with design changes and software updates. I can't wait to see what the future holds, and in the meantime, if you want to see my full review of the Hyundai Ioniq 5, you can check out that video linked up here or in the description below. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.